We have holiday weekend college basketball live from the Jersey Shore as Princeton visits Monmouth. These two Garden State basketball neighbors, separated by less than 40 miles, have alternated wins and losses in 3 straight in the series as they'll meet for the 18th time this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. We welcome you courtside to the Ocean First Bank Center. Alongside former Monmouth Hawk Steve Bazaz, I'm Eddie Acapinti, and here on Saturday afternoon, Monmouth and Princeton, Steve, find themselves in very similar spots early on in the season.
Monmouth comes into this game at 0-6, still looking for their first win on the year. The biggest issue for the Hawks is their inability to score the basketball, only 61 points per game and only shooting 24% from 3.
And meanwhile, this Princeton team comes in having dropped 2 of 3 to start this season. They were bolstered by the return of Devin Kennedy last game. But Steve, as we look at your impact players, we look at his running mate in the backcourt, another 1,000-point scorer in Miles Stevens.
Well, Miles Stevens is the ultimate two-way player for the Tigers, was second in the team in scoring last year. 2 years ago was Defensive Player of the Year and Most Outstanding Player in the Ivy League tournament. Scoring at 19 a game this year, the Tigers will rely on him on both ends of the floor.
Miles Stevens, a great two-way player. Our Monmouth impact player this afternoon, Steve, another impactful two-way guard.
Well, Nick Rutherford transferred in from Florida Atlantic after starting every game his first 2 years of school. He assumes the point guard duties for King Rice here in West Long Branch. Thought he really showed out in their game against West Virginia down in Myrtle Beach. 9 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds. The Hawks need him to lead the way.
The matchup between Stevens and Rutherford, one of the matchups, Steve, we'll be keeping an eye on here this afternoon as the rest of the Princeton starting lineup mentioned Kennedy returned against Fairleigh Dickinson. Maybe some youth in there as well. Ethan Wright will get the start for Mitch Henderson, and Richmond Ariraguzo has had a nice start to his season, one of the more improved Tigers on the roster. Home team this afternoon, Monmouth lineup will be a similar one to what King Rice has used throughout the season. Monmouth's already played 6 games on the year, Steve. So they've played twice the number of games that Princeton has, as they're led on the young season by Dion Hammond.
And that's something that Princeton head coach Mitch Henderson talked about as being a bit concerned about, Eddie, is that Monmouth has already had 6 games. They've only had 2 games against Division I opponents. He was a bit concerned about that going into this game on the road.
Yeah, this matchup a season ago was in Princeton. You saw it in our open. These two campuses separated by just about 34 miles. As neighborly as you get in college basketball, these two, as we are underway, and right off the opening tip, Stevens has it stripped out of bounds by Monmouth's Ray Salnave. So right out of the jump, Stevens being aggressive. Must have known that we highlighted him in the early going. The men running the action on the floor, DJ Karstensen, Bill McCarthy, Nathan Hall here on a Saturday afternoon. First possession for Princeton, they scored just under 70 a game. Coming into play today off of that 77-66 loss to Fairleigh Dickinson. Working it around the perimeter. There's a strong take from Ryan Schwieger, and it's out of bounds. It'll go over to Monmouth for the first time this afternoon.
A nice job there from Dion Hammond on the defensive end. We know Hammond is a big-time shooter for Monmouth.
Mentioned Princeton. They score under 70 a game. Steve mentioned in our open, this Monmouth team has struggled to score this season, specifically in the half court. They average just over 61 a night.
Yeah, it's been tough for Monmouth to find that alpha dog after graduating 3 seniors a year ago. That's one of the guys that they need to get going, Louis Polari.
A good sign for Monmouth as the redshirt junior from nearby Tinton Falls gives Monmouth a 2-0 lead.
And going into this season, Monmouth expected a lot of points from Louis Polari, one of the few upperclassmen on this roster.
Both of these teams will play a lot of guys here this afternoon. Great ball movement by Princeton. An open 3 for Kennedy is too strong. Stevens with a follow dunk to tie the game at 2.
Oh, we talked about Stevens being a two-way player. He can defend, he can score, he can certainly rebound. Monmouth has to know where he is at all times and finish.
And with this lineup, he really plays a 3-4 hybrid. Size-wise, he's a 3. Athleticism-wise, he's probably a 4. Here's Monmouth sophomore Dion Hammond going to the rim. He's added that to his game this year, and he puts Monmouth up 2.
Well, I think that's something that Dion Hammond needs to get more consistent with. He relies on the three-point shot a lot, and he needs to start developing a mid-range game. Nice floater there.
Monmouth's only double-figure scorer by average. Hammond gets just over 13 a game. Here's a right elbow touch for Ariraguzo. Rutherford, the steal. Going to try to go coast to coast. The challenge, and Rutherford puts it in.
Another guy that we highlighted, Eddie, Nick Rutherford, doing it at both ends of the floor. Has great long arms, is tremendous at getting his hands in there, getting deflections, and then he's able to finish the play.
And Monmouth has made all 3 of its field goals in the early going. Great ball movement again from Princeton. Schwieger had it off the front rim, and a loose ball foul will go against Princeton's Richmond Ariraguzo.
And shooting the ball from the outside has been a problem for Princeton. And we see Rutherford with the great steal, getting that left hand in there, and then finishing off the play with the great finish. And he is lefty going to that strong hand. Princeton is getting some open looks, and watching their game back against FDU, they had some open looks in that game too, just unable to knock down a 3. They're only shooting at 24% from the outside.
Big offensive rebound by Monmouth's Ray Salnave. That previous Princeton, not on Ariraguzo, but it was on freshman Ethan Wright. Whistle with 16:56 to go in the first. That one will go on Schwieger, so 2 early fouls on Princeton as they'll go to the bench for the first time. They'll bring in freshman Max Johns. And Mitch Henderson really likes his young players, Steve. Mentioned a few, including Johns by name, but we expect to see a handful of freshmen here this afternoon.
Well, both these teams have good young players that get a lot of action. Both their coaches trusting their young players to play big minutes.
Kennedy's 3 rims in and out. Another rebound for Salnave. You mentioned the game Devin Kennedy had when these 2 teams played a couple of seasons ago. We'll highlight that a bit later on as Nick Rutherford, another layup, and Monmouth out to an 8-2 lead here in the first half. Tremendous start to this game for Monmouth, looking for their first win of the season. They've gotten 4 early points from one of their leaders, Nick Rutherford. Monmouth and Princeton, these 2 New Jersey rivals, met a season ago as Miles Stevens and Devin Kennedy combined for 37 in that 11-point Tigers win. But Steve, 2 years ago, they played an instant classic here in the Ocean First Bank Center. 96-90 was the score. 2 teams were really on top of the mid-major world.
Yeah, that might have been the best mid-major game of the season. Stephen Cook for Princeton had 30 in that game. Kennedy had 26. Monmouth's Justin Robinson had 27. Both teams combined for 28 three-pointers in that game. That was a great mid-major out-of-conference game early on in that year.
Those 2 teams that season really were at the height of their powers. Monmouth was on the back end of a 55-win couple of seasons. They won 27 that year. Princeton won 19 in a row that season, Steve, including a perfect Ivy League record.
Well, they won 19 in a row after losing to Monmouth in that game. Mitch Henderson actually told us yesterday that was the happiest he's ever been after a loss. He thought it was a springboard, and like you said, his team went 19-0 before falling to Notre Dame in the NCAA tournament. And it was actually a Devin Kennedy three-pointer at the buzzer that missed, or they would have knocked off the Irish.
And that was a Notre Dame team that lost to Duke in the ACC final. That Princeton team that year won the first ever Ivy League tournament. Another free throw coming for Monmouth redshirt junior Mustafa Traore. Making his 65th career appearance, the Philadelphia native gives Monmouth a 10-2 lead.
And Traore had a nice showing in Myrtle Beach against Valparaiso in Monmouth's second game of that tournament. Had 14 points. He was 7 of 7 from the floor.
Shooting 50% this season. He's Monmouth's third leading scorer. You can make the case he's one of the more improved Hawks for King Rice. This move down low from Will Gladson, and the senior makes it a 6-point game. Gladson's checked in with junior Jose Morales for Princeton, as Morales comes away with the steal. Let's go the other way. Stevens. They tried the give and go, and Monmouth takes it back.
Great hands there from Salnave.
And then running back the other way, Max Johns looking like a defensive back, knocking it out of bounds. Monmouth will inbound.
Good hands from Johns. Ray Salnave is tremendous on the defensive end. Him and Rutherford and McClary, we'll see McClary later, are great with getting their hands and causing deflections.
Well, Salnave that got the initial deflection and then tried the ambitious look ahead. Fitting with so many football rivalries today that we get this basketball rivalry. One dribble pull-up for Dion Hammond off the rim. And the ball goes out of bounds. Salnave again being feisty will keep it with Monmouth.
A good job there from Salnave. A great activity to keep that ball alive, and Monmouth will keep it. That's a play where Dion Hammond makes a great play to get the defender off his feet. But I want to see him go to the rim there, Eddie, and try to finish with authority or drive it and kick it to a shooter.
Monmouth has made 4 of its first 8 from the floor here in this first half. Polari, after a wild exchange to the rim, he'll absorb some contact and he'll go to the free throw line.
Not much going for Monmouth there on that possession. Polari just being aggressive, coming up with the loose ball, splitting those two defenders, and then getting the bump and going to the line.
Polari scoring right at 6 points a game. This is his 3rd year of college basketball, but he's an older guy, redshirted after coming to Monmouth from Naval Academy Prep School. And like you mentioned with Hammond and Rutherford, Monmouth looking to Louis Polari to maybe take that next step as far as being a reliable scorer.
Now, one time last year, Louis Polari was shooting around 50% from 3. This year, he's only at 15%, 3 of 19. That'll certainly change as the year goes on, but part of the reason why Monmouth is struggling to score.
Morales, the drive and kick. It's Johns in the right corner. And Johns, just his 2nd three-pointer of the season.
It came into this matchup only 1 of 2 from the outside. Make it 2 of 3.
Here's Hammond again, and this will be an offensive foul. He turned the corner. Will Gladson was there to take it.
Oh, good job of team defense there from Gladson. Sliding over, help defense, drawing the contact and taking the charge. And also credit Johns for staying with Dion Hammond. Sometimes when players get beat, they give up on the play. That would have allowed Dion Hammond to pull up for a jump shot. But Johns staying with it, carries the momentum into Gladson.
Princeton's gone to the bench. They've brought in Jerome DeRosier, the sophomore from Quebec. Monmouth also showing a zone look for the first time in this game. Princeton's been the side that's gone to the bench more, and we've seen Monmouth play upwards of 11 guys in a half this season. As Morales' 3 is off the mark. That's a big rebound by Traore, and we'll go the other way.
And we'll see both teams switch defenses. Eddie, Monmouth that time goes to their 2-3 zone. Mitch Henderson will show some 2-3. He'll also show some 1-3-1 with the Tigers.
It's been this 5 for Monmouth that has gone the first 6.5 minutes here in the first half. Monmouth has made, again, 4 of its first 8 as Polari steps out and knocks down the 3. He's got 5 early points.
Well, Polari looks comfortable in this game. We saw him come off a screen and knock one down. That time, great jab step. Get the defense off you. Knocks it down.
Kennedy's 3 is off the mark. Traore again on the glass. See Polari leading the way for Monmouth with 7 early going. Hammond a catch and shoot 3. The back tap still loose. Salnave to the crossover, dumps it down low.
Traore's got to use the glass there.
Whistle away from the ball, and a loose ball foul will go on Monmouth's Ray Salnave.
Traore was on a funny angle in that kind of in-between area. Wasn't sure if he should try to float it in or use the glass, but he's got to put himself in position to use the backboard there.
Both teams going to the bench as Monmouth has checked in Malik Martin and Diego Quinn. Princeton's checked in freshman Drew Freiberg, along with sophomore Sebastian Much. DeRosier off the mark, a point-blank try for Johns. Monmouth trying to build on an 8-point first-half lead. Rutherford, the driving kick. It's an open look for Louis Polari.
It's a great sight for Monmouth Hawks fans. Great sight for King Rice to see Louis Polari getting it going. And what I liked about that play, Eddie, is that Polari took his time on that shot, set his feet, knocked it down.
Well, Monmouth out to a great start, an 11-point lead here in the first half. And as Steve said, a welcome sight to Hawks fans. Louis Polari already 10 here in the first half. Everyone having some fun here on a holiday weekend. Monmouth out to an 18-7 lead here in the first half. Steve, let's take a look at the keys in this one. And for Princeton, we've highlighted Kennedy and Stevens, but let's start there. Who will be the third Tiger to step up?
Well, I think that's going to be the question for Princeton all season long. We know they play a lot of guys around Kennedy and Miles Stevens, but who will be that option for Princeton? Monmouth in their half-court offense looking good in this game, shooting 6 of 12 from the outside, 50%. Polari getting it going early for the Hawks.
Both of these teams have struggled defending the three. So far today, Monmouth is 2 for 4 shooting from beyond the arc. Princeton just 1 of 7. That's uncharacteristic for a Princeton Tiger team that we're used to letting fly from 3.
Typically, they can shoot the 3, but both teams, not a great combination. Both teams struggling shooting the 3 and also defending it, especially in today's college basketball. Not a good combination.
Yeah, right on cue. Jose Morales, his 3 makes it 18-10. Now, these two teams have played beautiful offensive games. They've also played ugly offensive games, as we'll highlight a bit later on. Monmouth freshman Sam Chaput is checked in. He's being aggressive. Diego Quinn offensive rebound and a foul.
Oh, good job there from Diego Quinn. Now, Monmouth needs more out of their upperclassmen. Polari, Traore, Diego Quinn. And that's Quinn's role with this team. Carve out space in the middle, grab some offensive rebounds, get yourself to the free throw line.
So the senior from New York City knocks down his first free throw. Always been solid from the free throw line throughout his career. Knocks down a pair.
Oh, we saw Quinn in the first game of his college career knock down huge free throws at UCLA. And all the Monmouth bigs, for the most part, in the King Rice era have shot the free throw very well.
Here's Johns double teamed, and it goes off his leg. George Pappas checking in, making an impact, helping force that turnover. That'll also get Devin Kennedy back in for Princeton.
Good job from the Monmouth defense again. You see now Princeton with 4 turnovers. Monmouth doing a great job of getting those hands in there, causing some deflections.
Monmouth will inbound, just over 11 minutes left in the first half.
You see Miles Stevens out there denying Polari. He's had the hot hand.
Ariwa Guzzo is checked back in for the Tigers. And there is Stevens, former Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year, drawing the hot hand in Polari. Pick and roll. Pilari lost it. Morales got a hand in.
Now Monmouth has to use that post guy more. Diego Quinn fighting for position, got to reward the big.
There's Morales. He's going to attack. And the floater's good. Yeah, we mentioned Kennedy's return is a big one for Princeton. Same thing for Jose Morales, as he's got a couple.
Speedy guard, has some game. Mitch Henderson mentioned him to us as a guy that he expects to play a major role for this team.
After the Pappas and Martin miss, Princeton has it again, trying to cut into the Monmouth lead. Kennedy going to use the screen. There's Stevens stepping out.
Oh, we know how good Stevens is attacking the rim. Oh, that time showing off the three-point shot. Now, Stevens has already taken 20 free throws this season. So you play off of him, and he makes you pay shooting a three.
Well, we highlighted Miles Stevens early on, Steve. He and Kennedy are a tremendous duo, and Stevens can do literally everything on the court.
And if that shot's going in, he's so hard to guard. He wants to get to the rim. He's only shooting 3 of 14 from 3 on the season this year, but we know he's a capable shooter from the outside. But the scouting report on him, you got to make sure that you have 4 guys in the lane when he's got the basketball, because he wants to go to the rim and finish.
Well, he's got great size, 6'5" senior from right near Princeton in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. So the Tigers have made 3 straight field goals to make this a 5-point game. It's starting to have a little bit of a feel to that game you and I did 2 years ago right here in the Ocean First Bank Center, that 96-90 game. We weren't sure we'd see that kind of offense, but now through just over 10 minutes, both of these teams look dialed in early.
Both teams look like they're settling in and are confident and comfortable on the offensive end.
Two teams that normally pride itself on defense. So we'll see how that plays out over the rest of this game as Monmouth controls with under 10 to go on the shot clock. First look at Marcus McClary. Back to Salnave, and his 3 is off the back rim, but another Monmouth offensive rebound.
And good job there from Rutherford. Comes up with the ball, calls out a play, settles the offense down.
He almost threw it away. He works it down low to Quinn now. Salnave being guarded by Much. Shot clock down to 5 as we're inside of 9. And Rutherford threw it away.
All right, it's great defense from Princeton. Monmouth, nothing going on. And really credit Richmond Ririgozu. How about that?
You got it.
Well, credit his post defense, Diego Quinn, and he'll come out and get a blow here. But Diego Quinn was fighting hard for position. And Ririgozu doing a great job not letting Quinn touch the basketball.
Yeah, they're probably about the same height, but Quinn's got about, what'd you say, about 40 pounds on Ririgozu. Princeton trying to make this a 1-possession game. The big man Much steps out, and he can't get the friendly roll. Monmouth back to the half-court set. After starting hot, Monmouth just 1 of its last 7 from the floor. It's a strong move from Quinn, but he can't finish, and Much pulls down the rebound.
Well, I like the touch, though, for the big. Quinn working hard down there. Got to make sure you drop it into the post. And Quinn got a good look.
Morales, who has a couple from the floor. Stevens and McClary. That's a good matchup right here. Much will try another 3. The high arcer is short, and Rutherford goes up for the rebound. A nice deflection out of bounds by Morales, as Monmouth will inbound it with 7:49 to go in the first when we come back. Monmouth holding a 5-point lead here in the first half inside the Ocean First Bank Center. Monmouth leading Princeton first half here at West Long Branch, 20-15. Steve Bazaz, Eddie Acapinti, your broadcast crew. Third member of our team with us this afternoon is Susie Milano. We appreciate you guys making us part of your holiday weekend. How was your Thanksgiving, my friend?
Thanksgiving was great, Eddie. How about you?
That was great. A couple days to sit back and watch other people broadcast games for a little bit. Nice couple days. And this is a nice time for this matchup, right? Local, the fans for both teams kind of around the area. So Princeton with a nice contingent that traveled east here in West Long Branch. Monmouth basketball, they'll control with a 5-point lead. Louis Pilari's back in. He's our first double-figure scorer in this game. He's 3 of 4 from the floor. He's knocked down 2 of 3 from 3. Rutherford in the corner. And a big rebound by Ari Ragusa.
That's a great driving kick there from Salnave, rejecting the ball screen, drawing the defense in the lane. Great kick out. Rutherford had an open look.
Princeton moving it around. Kennedy finding Johns in the corner. Space line spin by Ari Ragusa and a foul on Monmouth's Diego Quinn.
That's a nice move there from Ari Ragusa. Drawing the foul. How about going to the other side of the rim trying to finish? It's a nice play.
So the sophomore from Ewing, New Jersey, went to Trenton Catholic. Will go to the free throw line. He's one of the more improved players on this roster. He's upped his points per game average more than 5 points a game from last year to this year. And he's one of the guys as a candidate for that third guy outside of Kennedy and Stevens, along with Morales, who's in your shot there, to be those next Tigers to step up for Mitch Henderson.
And came into this game shooting 72% field goal and finishing around the basket. That will be his role. We know Princeton, the typical Princeton offense. I love talking to Mitch about that yesterday, that they're certainly not as scripted or choreographed as they used to be back in the 90s when he was playing, but they still have the same principles, same spacing.
Kennedy, a 3 that's off the mark. Here's Salnave. They had a great conversation with Mitch Henderson about his team, about Princeton basketball. A nice hustle from Morales, saving it in bounds. He told us that without harping on it, he does make his players aware of the tradition and the guys that have come he coached with, he played with, and it is quite the basketball tradition.
Those teams in the 90s were so much fun to watch. The teams that he was a part of, him and Brian Earl and Gabe Llewellyn. It was so much fun. It was just, and they were tremendous players. They could have won in any system, by the way. The way they shared the ball, the way they cut, the way they spaced the floor, it was really impressive stuff, and really enjoyed picking his brain about.
Yeah, there is Mitch Henderson in his 8th season already at his alma mater. Hard to believe he's already the 3rd winningest coach all time at Princeton, including Pete Carrill. Hard to mention Princeton basketball without mentioning Pete Carrill, Ivy League Coach of the Year a couple of years ago. Led this Princeton team to the NCAA tournament in 2017. And inside the huddle there is the 2-time MAC Coach of the Year, King Rice. Led this Monmouth team to a program record 28 wins just a couple of seasons ago. And Steve, he did it with a cast that was pretty well known among the mid-major ranks. Now working in a young group of sophomores and juniors he is very high on as they continue to build a program. And there's one of his former players, Josh James, on the sidelines with him.
Well, Josh James was a big recruit for King Rice to get that team going. But it all kind of goes in cycles, right, Eddie? So you graduate that great group. Now you have some young guys that you're relying on to develop and get better. Nice play there out of the timeout from King Rice, and Traore is able to finish.
Well, Monmouth lead up to 7. That stops a long scoring drought for Monmouth. And now Princeton is inside of one of those scoring droughts as the Tigers are looking for their first field goal in almost 4 minutes. Seems like we had 20 to 15 for a while as these two teams have kind of settled in. Shot clock down to 2. Stevens to beat the buzzer. And loose ball, still loose. Bodies going down to the ground. And if they go jump ball, and they will, Monmouth will get it.
You know what I thought was interesting in our conversation was Mitch Henderson talked about the negative recruiting that goes into Princeton-style offense, that teams or players don't want to be slowed down. And I thought that was interesting that I think if it wins, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the most important part?
Well, Princeton's been playing basketball a long time, and they've done a lot of winning. But like you said, it seems like you and I spoke after getting ready for the game. We likened it to a triple option football offense. Always not the prettiest, but it's effective. And effectiveness is what wins, whether you're Princeton, whether you're Monmouth and King Rice, who comes out of the North Carolina family of wanting to push the basketball and push pace. Good basketball is good basketball if it's 100 miles an hour or if you crawl.
And the common denominator is having great players to run your system.
Polari gliding to the rim in a humongous block. Let's go the other way with the Tigers. Kennedy, the left-handed cross-court pass. And Stevens got Hammond in the air, and he traveled.
No, I thought Salnave actually had a chance to take a charge there. And Polari on his drive, really nice-looking drive. If he went up with his left hand, I think he would have had to finish.
Well, here's what's happening now, right? The offense is kind of slowed down, Steve, but you know what hasn't? Is the intensity and the hustle. Both ends of the floor, great block on one end, and then Monmouth on the other end being scrappy, Hammond flying over. The effort level really high between these two teams right now. You could tell they both want this game.
Well, you know these teams are going to respond after struggling early so far in this season. Monmouth can't catch the basketball there. Rutherford, tough pass in traffic, and Traore can't handle it.
See how each of these two teams end this first half with now inside of 5 to go. Morales alone. Monmouth has a big advantage on the glass here in the first half. They're +8 on Princeton. Hammond, strong move to the basket, and Stevens on the backboard.
Monmouth needs guys moving around the perimeter. Dion Hammond, strong drive off the dribble handoff, but needs to be able to find guys to pitch that ball out to. That was a tough drive.
After the Stevens miss, Hammond spotting up.
Much better look there for Dion Hammond. Just the possession before, a little out of control, fading away from the rim. Ray Salnave is phenomenal at finding guys in transition. That diagonal pass, the best pass in basketball. Eddie Hammond able to set his feet and knock it down.
Monmouth has now knocked down 3 threes in this first half. John's tough shot. Good
and great
out.
box there from Salnave, boxing his man underneath the rim.
Monmouth with a 10-point lead, trying to go into the under 4 media timeout with a double-figure advantage, and they'll now slow things down.
I like that from King Rice. Nothing in transition. Bring it back out. Run some half-court offense.
Shot clock coming all the way down. Rutherford in the corner. And a battle down low for the rebound. It's Alf Traore. So Princeton will get it back when we come back. Monmouth with a 10-point lead, but this game starting to settle into a defensive struggle here in West Long Branch. Monmouth with a 10-point lead, 25-15 for the first time this afternoon. And with more on Princeton's dynamic duo, let's say good afternoon to Susie Milano.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, both Devin Kennedy and Miles Stevens are standout players in the Ivy League, but they're also standout students in the classroom as well. Both of these guys will be presenting their senior thesis at the end of May, and that's an 80-page book with some extensive research that goes into it. For Miles, he's a history major, and his focus is on the integration of African Americans into Major League Baseball, from players, coaches, owners even. And for Devin, he's a sociology major. His focus is on Instagram and how it affects society. So 2 very interesting topics for these guys. But they agreed. They said the most intense part of it is not the 80-page book that they have to write, but it's the extensive research that goes into it. But they also agreed, and they said Coach Henderson has been a great tool for both of them, considering he is a Princeton grad and has been through the same process. Guys?
Well, Susie, thank you very much. We'll check back in with Susie in the second half. You know, Steve, it's cliche, but it's true. the student athlete, regardless of institution, is an incredible role and a tough job. At an Ivy League school and at a Princeton, that job gets even more difficult. 80-page paper. I didn't write 80 pages in 4 years.
I'm with you on that one. And how about those topics, too? Really great topics that go along with our society today, huh?
Well, it's amazing, too, how Princeton allows them to really pick their own topic and go. And imagine the research that goes into 80 pages. Oof. Goodness. Well, good luck, Miles and Devin. As out of the timeout, Monmouth's Mustafa Traore called for an offensive foul. I'm sure Mitch Henderson right now would like a field goal from either Devin Kennedy or Miles Stevens here as Princeton trails by 10.
Yeah, Princeton struggling from the outside. 6 of 22, and more of those three-point struggles. Only 3 of 14 from behind the arc.
Well, this game started off kind of back and forth, but it's really settled in now into more of a defensive struggle. And these two teams know a thing or two about defensive struggles. And we'll highlight that more in our second half. Nearing the 2-minute mark. Morales with 1 on the shot clock, and that one will be a shot clock violation.
And credit the Monmouth defense here, doing a great job. And also King Rice switching defense. You've seen some man, you've also seen some zone.
So Stevens back, Ariguzzo back. They take out Drew Freiberg and Jose Morales. See that Princeton struggle, that O of 8 also adds in 4 turnovers, and Princeton hasn't scored in going on 8 minutes. It's allowed Monmouth to methodically build the lead. Malik Martin to the basket. That's a great challenge from Ariguzzo. And he gets a block.
Sometimes I think the Monmouth bigs need to kick that ball out. Great drive there from Malik Martin, but Traore had 3 guys standing behind the three-point line. If he's able to pick up that basketball and kick the ball out, that could have been 3 points for the Hawks.
So a great defensive possession for Ariguzzo, and then he commits his first foul, but he has been, Steve, all over the place defensively.
Well, you see that drive from Martin. Now Traore with a few guys around him. If he kicks that ball out to Hammond or Rutherford, I think it's an open 3. It's a great time to shoot a three-pointer, either in transition or off of an offensive rebound.
Well, I've learned enough in our years broadcasting together that one of the best times to shoot a 3 is off of an offensive rebound.
Absolutely. And I think Traore, and now if you're right next to the basket and you can finish, then obviously you take the layup. But that time Traore is about 8 feet away, 3 Princeton guys next to him. I think that's the time to kick that basketball out.
First half winding down here in West Long Branch. Rutherford finding Martin in the corner. And a loose ball foul will keep things on this end of the floor. With 1:10 to go and the shot clock was ticking down to 5, as the foul will go on Johns.
Well, the shot wasn't pretty, but I like the basketball. Rutherford driving along the baseline. You have an opposite drifter, which was Malik Martin, getting to the right corner. Anytime you have baseline drive, you have baseline drift, opposite side.
Monmouth shooting very well from the line this afternoon. As Freiberg back for Johns. 2 freshmen trade places.
Princeton needs to find a way to manufacture some offense here, only with 15 points in this first half. That's where you need to rely on your seniors. Kennedy and Stevens need to step up, start being a little more aggressive.
Traore 2 free throws give Monmouth now a 12-point lead. Kennedy finding Stevens. Inside of 60 seconds now, and Monmouth back into the zone. Kennedy open for 3, and he knocks it down.
And a good-looking shot there from Kennedy, but Monmouth needs to play better defense as well. A simple dribble exchange, handoff gets Kennedy an open look.
He's just 1 of 6 this afternoon. He was 4 of 5 against Fairleigh Dickinson the other night. Doesn't take Devin Kennedy too long to heat up, though. And an offensive foul. That'll go on Monmouth's Malik Martin.
Well, you get a 3-pointer from Kennedy. Now a turnover from Monmouth on the moving screen. Oh, can Princeton capitalize and get some momentum here going into halftime?
Well, they cut it to single digits last time down, and the game and shot clock are almost identical. So see if they can further do it. They have the ball in the hands of their senior leader. Now Monmouth running the double team at him. Kennedy with 2 Hawks on him. Right into the lane, kick out, an open 3 for Freiberg. Right all alone down low, and he'll beat the first half buzzer with a putback.
Well, big finish to the half for Princeton after falling down 12, 5 straight points to make it 27-20 going into halftime.
So Princeton with 5 in a row to end the first half. The Kennedy 3 and the putback make it 27-20 at the break. Start of the second half, Monmouth with a 7-point lead, and with more from each head coach, let's say hello again to Susie Milano.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I had a chance to chat with both coaches at halftime. Coach Henderson told me that they're just simply having a hard time scoring, which he said is something he never thought that he would say, but he gave all the credit to Monmouth's defense, but then followed it up with saying that he loves their defense as well. He said, we may be having a hard time getting on the scoreboard, but so are they. And for Monmouth, Coach King Rice told me that he loves the energy. He thinks his players are fighting really hard, but that's only the first 20 minutes. He said they got to keep it up here in the second half if they want the result they want. Guys?
Thank you, Susie. We'll check back in with her in the second half. Underway now in the second set of 20 minutes. So, Steve, after hearing what Mitch Henderson said, and I agree, you know, the effort in this game has been phenomenal, but each team shooting just 30%. And Monmouth with a bit more from the line with a 7-point lead. Kennedy hanging in the air and finishing.
Oh, great take there from Kennedy, and I think that's what they need more of, is their leaders, Kennedy and Stevens, just being aggressive. Oh, credit the Princeton defense, too. After Monmouth started 6 of 12, they finished 2 of 14 from the outside, which let Princeton hang around.
That travel from Traore now gives Monmouth a matching 9 turnovers to what Princeton has. It's been almost as even as you could have in a game. Stevens balling himself to the basket. You have your choice of who the foul's on. It'll go against Louis Polari. It'll be his first.
Well, you had 2 straight possessions now for Princeton, where first Kennedy went to the rim after they ran a screen action for Stevens, and then Stevens gets the ball on the outside and rips through hard. And I think the onus is on them to get their team rolling here in the second half. Well, let's keep in mind, Eddie, the finish for Princeton at the end of that first half. They were down 12, scored 5 straight to keep this one a game.
And you hear 5 straight, and you wouldn't think it's a huge deal, but 5 straight in a game that's this close and this low scoring makes a lot. A 5-0 run is big in this game.
It's a big difference being down 27-15 versus 27-20 at half.
That is a strong take from Hammond. He switched hands, unable to finish. Here come the Tigers, looking to further cut into the Monmouth lead. Johns open. Ball tipped out to Ray Salnath. Monmouth working it around. It gets its way back to Salnath. One too many passes as Morales in the lane. It's a 3-point game.
A great job by Morales playing the passing lane. Lazy pass there. He's able to make Monmouth pay. I thought Monmouth missed an opportunity in transition. Polari should have let the ball fly. And his extra pass, I thought, went in the wrong direction. He had Dion Hammond in the left corner.
So right out of the halftime break, Princeton has cut it to 4. Morales, who just made the layup, was holding his right hand, almost like he jammed a finger. And then he gets screened huge by Traore, who puts it in.
Now Morales hurt his shoulder against FDU the other night. A little banged up, but playing strong. A nice possession there for Monmouth, getting an easy basket.
Another good game for Traore. He's got 8. And Morales just shaking off whatever was bothering him, as it's again a 5-point game. He gets into the lane. Oh, what a pass and finish.
What a player Morales is. I like the way he's able to use his speed, get into the lane. We saw him defensively make a play. And then the drop off, big time finish too.
Yeah, Ruguzzo going up and down. Yeah, the second half has started pretty well. These two teams flying out to a beginning as Monmouth still holds a 3-point lead. Hammond a little too far in front of Rutherford. And King Rice will call timeout. Princeton has outscored Monmouth 6-2 the first couple of minutes in the second half, Steve. And you said it, Morales to Ruguzzo. Hello, here on Saturday afternoon. Princeton has cut the Monmouth lead to 3 at 29-26 here early in the second half. And these two rivals are meeting for the 18th time. Princeton's had the better go of it, but Steve, they've been known for playing traditionally low-scoring games. 2 of these games are among the lowest scoring in Division I history. Princeton beat Monmouth 37-35 back in 1999. And then a game that you took part in, my friend, back in 2005. It was a 41-21 Monmouth win.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to tell anybody I was a part of that one. 41-21, that was the Monmouth team that I was on. That we won the NEC, by the way. I'll throw that in there. And we won the championship that year. Some would say it was great defense. Other would probably argue, Eddie, that we set basketball back a few years. It was nice to be on the winning side of that game.
Yeah, that one was the one that set the record for lowest score combined. Out of the timeout, Princeton controlling. They can cut it to 1 or tie this game up for the first time in a long time. There's been 2 ties in this game to this point. Stevens from straight away. It goes through 2 players' hands, and Mount Monmouth running it into the front court. Polari's 3 is back rim, but he's fouled.
I like the unselfish play from Monmouth there in transition. The advance pass up the sideline. Trevon Gross, the skip pass to Salnave, and then the extra pass to Polari. I really like it. Kennedy trying to get back and contest that Polari shot, gets called for the foul. That's great ball movement for Monmouth there in transition. That's really when they're at their best, is in transition, off of a missed shot or off of a turnover. The problem for Monmouth this season is that when the game slows down, can they get an open look? And they've struggled with that so far, and I still think they have to use the post guy a little bit more.
Another one coming to Polari. The foul was on Devin Kennedy. Well, they called it on Max Johns, and then they switched it as it was Kennedy's first. He'll sit down. Much is checked back in with Ryan Schwieger for Princeton. Polari makes all 3 free throws, and he extends the Monmouth lead to 6. Polari, the lone double-figure scorer in this game, with a game-high 13. Without Kennedy in the game, see who gets the look here against the Monmouth zone. Schwieger from the corner. And Rutherford had great position, leading the break, but Hammond couldn't control it, and then he fouls Jose Morales.
That's a tough pass to handle in transition there. A little bit of traffic, not great spacing. When you're running the floor, you want to be wide. And I think Rutherford and Hammond just a little bit too close to each other.
Monmouth leading 32-26. That foul gets us to our first media timeout here in the second half from the Ocean First Bank Center. Bring it back after this. This afternoon's broadcast of ESPN College Basketball is brought to you in part by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. And World Subaru. You're an MVP at World Subaru. Monmouth leading Princeton 32-26, 15:58 to go in our second half from the Ocean First Bank Center. There's Monmouth's Louis Polari leading the way with 13 points for Monmouth, while Miles Stevens trying to help lead Princeton back. He's got 5. Morales controlling for the Tigers. And Stevens dragged the pivot foot before he could throw it to Morales. It's the 10th turnover against Princeton.
You know, I know we talked about in the first half, Eddie, about Princeton playing with a little bit more freedom. We see the 4-out, one-in style that they're playing with, but is it me? Have you seen one backdoor cut from Princeton in this game?
Steve, I can't recall a backdoor cut in this game. I can't recall a traditional guard-to-guard exchange either. I've been waiting for one.
You know I'm a big Princeton offense guy. We ran Princeton-style offense at Monmouth when I was a player here. But you're right, and you know, I think what Mitch Henderson's challenge is trying to find the best in-between, right? You don't want to be as scripted as they were back in the 90s, but you still want to stick to what Princeton basketball is. I watched them against FDU in their last game, and they did have some high post catches, some backdoor cuts, but not so much in this game against Monmouth.
Schwieger out, Max Johns back in. Our officials checking the clock out, making sure all is good. Monmouth to inbound with 20 on the shot clock. Rutherford into the lane. He's one-on-one with Johns, using a ball screen. It's a strong take by Salnave, and the foul.
Good offense there. Nice ball screen action for Monmouth. And I like them using the post. Bring the big out to ball screen. And we talked about Monmouth trying to dump that ball inside more. Anything that involves the post guy for Monmouth, I think, ends up being a positive for the Hawks.
It's a strong take by Salnave. That's actually his first field goal in this game, but he's played in a very impactful 19 minutes, Steve. 6 rebounds, a couple of assists, no turnovers for the sophomore from New York City.
Under control basketball for Ray Salnave, and that's when he's at his best. We know how talented of a player that he is, and he's that much more effective going to the rim.
And his three-point play boosts the Monmouth lead to now 35-26. Stevens from straight away. That's a big rebound from the aforementioned Salnave. The Hammond three pushes the Monmouth lead back into double figures.
Nice job there from Monmouth. After the miss, advancing that basketball up the court quick, and gets a look for Dion Hammond.
Well, a 9-0 scoring run, Steve. The last minute 54 makes it a 12-point Monmouth lead.
And Salnave doing another great job in transition of advancing that basketball to a shooter. Really, the difference in this game for Monmouth is that they're knocking down their free throws. They're 12 of 12 from the free throw line. But also, both teams have 4 threes in this game, but Monmouth's 4 of 11 and Princeton's 4 of 22.
That number, or those stats, go in with this next one. How about Princeton is 0 for 2 from the free throw line, while Monmouth has made all 12 of its attempts.
And Monmouth getting to the free throw line much more than Princeton has. That's important. Monmouth able to get to the rim. You know, Princeton, we haven't really seen much action other than really Morales of getting himself into the lane.
And we know that Kennedy's still working his way back from injury, but like you mentioned, not seeing some of those backdoor cuts, and I'm sure Monmouth playing zone has had a lot to do with that as Nick Rutherford comes flying in front of us. Were you ready to make the catch?
I was ready to catch him, Eddie, or I was ready to get out of the way.
I'm with the second one.
But I think the Monmouth's defense, we've seen plays like that all game now of them getting deflections, but also them switching defenses.
Good ball movement here for Princeton. John gets the layup.
And probably the best ball movement Princeton's had all game, hitting the middle of the zone and then the drop off.
10-point Monmouth lead. Dump it down to Traore. Kick out. Polari's had the hot hand. This one's short. And the rebound almost fell to Salnave, but it's a run-out attempt for Johns. And a foul called on Monmouth's Dion Hammond. It'll be his third foul.
That was an awkward looking play on the rebound there for both Salnave and Johns, it looked like. They almost both stopped on that play. And Princeton able to come up with that basketball. Monmouth had a trap opportunity there. Hammond just a little over aggressive, gets called for the foul.
So he'll sit down for Malik Martin. And what's one thing we've seen in this game, Steve, that you and I haven't seen the first handful of Monmouth games? 5 guys with over 20 minutes played. And after that, all single digits.
Well, when your team's struggling, you got to find a rotation that's going to work for you. The Salnave looks a little banged up there after that rebound. And King Rice, Monmouth 0-6 right now, so King Rice has to find a group that he can trust and play extended minutes.
Well, so far it's been a lot of who's on the court right now. It's a strong move from Rutherford. He puts it off the window.
I think they need more of Nick Rutherford doing exactly what we just saw, being aggressive, going to that rim. And he's been a little shy to shoot from the outside, too. I think he's got to trust his shot there and let it fly.
He's got 6 points. How about 7 rebounds? And here we'll go the other way.
A great job again from Ray Salnave. We talk about Salnave and how talented he is offensively, and when he gets going to the rim, he's very hard to stop. The best part of his game might be defensively. He's really developing into a tremendous defensive stopper and somebody who gets those deflections and can get a lot of steals and bring some offense with his defense.
Foul on Morales, guarding Rutherford above the three-point line. First foul on the junior from Miramar, Florida.
I like the combination of Rutherford and Salnave as 2 defensive-minded guards for the Hawks.
Well, the Monmouth lead is 12. We talked about some of those traditional low-scoring games. This one's starting to trend in that direction, isn't it?
Princeton really struggling from the outside. Another great play here from Morales.
He is all over the floor. Here goes Morales, 1-on-3, another great wraparound pass. Stevens' shot was blocked, and then a foul on Monmouth's Diego Quinn.
Well, if Princeton's looking for that third guy to create some offense, they might have found one here in Morales. And talk about guys doing it, defense turning into offense. Morales, great job, low to the ground, using his size to advantage that time against the bigger Malik Martin. And then another drop off underneath the defense.
Quinn foul was his second. And Stevens was about to shoot a free throw. And here come 2 free throws for Stevens, the senior from Lawrenceville, one of 2,000-point scorers on this Princeton roster. You've mentioned, and you talked about it when we came on the air this afternoon, Steve. Last 2 years have been really great for Miles Stevens, a second-team All-League honor last year, and then when Princeton won that Ivy League tournament a couple of years ago, he was the first ever Ivy League tournament most outstanding player. That's something to add to it when they played their first tournament down in the Palestra.
Well, that team was really talented, and you had guys around Stevens who could shoot the basketball, and I thought he brought a different dimension to that team. Guys like Stephen Cook, Spencer Wise, Kennedy was on that team. Well, Stevens was able to do a little bit different play defense, rebound, attack the rim. It was a nice put-together lineup.
Well, you mentioned attacking the rim, and that foul gets us to the media timeout. Monmouth leads by 10. We'll bring you back to the Ocean First Bank Center after this timeout. He's playing a pretty solid all-around game.
Well, I think Rutherford's a guy that needs to look for a shot a little bit more. In this game, he's got 6 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. Now, Monmouth the last few years has had the luxury of having their point guard arguably be their best player. Well, probably no arguing it when it comes to Justin Robinson, but really Austin Tillman carried them last year and had a phenomenal season. I think Nick Rutherford, he's probably not going to be their leading scorer, but has to be a guy that can score the basketball and also create shots for other guys.
Out of the timeout with Monmouth holding a 10-point lead. They control with under now 10 on the shot clock. Quinn banging down low and a foul called.
That's a good possession for the Monmouth Hawks there. Out of the timeout again, Monmouth gets their big a look inside.
The foul will be the third on Richmond Ariraguzzo. It'll put Diego Quinn at the line, as that was Princeton's 7th foul. So 1-and-1 coming for the Monmouth big man. Again, more good touch. Really all of Monmouth's bigs, you mentioned it earlier, have been good shooters throughout the year. They're without the services today of freshman Nikkei Ruddy, missing this game because he is sick. But we've seen Traore and Quinn really leading the way for Monmouth in the front court. Stevens into the lane. Ariraguzzo down low, and he'll go to the line for 2.
A good strong drive there from Stevens. I thought Diego Quinn was in position to get that rebound for Monmouth, just unable to come up with it.
Stevens at the line now. He's got 7.
A good job there, and Quinn was, I thought, in position. He's got to just ride his man out a little bit better than he did on that play.
Another one coming for Ariraguzzo. Stevens' shot that started that little flurry. So another one coming. The junior from Ewing, New Jersey, rolls it in. This is about where this game has been. Anywhere in that 8, 9, 10 range. And a loose ball foul on Johns. That's just tough luck as Morales defended well. And then it'll be a loose ball foul on Johns, his 4th.
Yeah, Morales trying to make something happen with his defense, and that's the biggest problem now for Princeton the rest of the way. They have to turn up their defense, get more aggressive. However, they're in the bonus right now, so Monmouth will be going to the free throw line.
And as you highlighted earlier, they've been good from the line today.
Monmouth 13 of 14 from the line. Quinn's miss just a possession ago was Monmouth's first miss of the game. That ends up being a good foul for Princeton, and Monmouth cannot miss front ends of the 1-on-1.
Kennedy's shot too high off the glass. And Monmouth coming down the other way. You mentioned it earlier. You look for Kennedy and Stevens to really control it for Princeton the rest of the way, while Monmouth has been balanced behind Louis Polari's 13. 8 points apiece for Hammond and Traore, 6 for Rutherford. There's Polari, lost it momentarily. Nice entry pass down low to Quinn. One dribble gather and a violation.
Hughes called it, Eddie, one dribble gather. I think one dribble too much for Quinn. He caught the ball in great positions, got to go up and finish that, and that's his kind of bread and butter move, going up baby hook with the right hand. An uncomfortable looking possession that time for Monmouth.
Here's Morales, splitting the defense to the rim and one. Jose Morales.
And Morales has really played a nice game here for the Tigers, but Monmouth needs to have better ball screen defense. Chaput and Quinn not doing a great job. Morales able to split them. You also want the weak side guys in the lane as well, but Chaput and Quinn have to do a better job of guarding the ball screen.
So Morales, who has just played in one game this year, you mentioned the shoulder injury. He had 3 points in 21 minutes in that game. He's got 10 in 23 minutes this afternoon, and it's 41-35.
He's added a couple assists. We've seen him drive to the rim and drop it off to guys. He's also got 4 steals in this game.
Hammond checked in with Traore for Monmouth. Lead down to 6. Chaput driving around Morales. Salnave from the wing is a huge shot for Ray Salnave.
You called it, Eddie. A huge shot for Salnave. Monmouth, not much going on. Morales doing a good job of pressuring the basketball, but Chaput able to get into the lane and kick to Salnave for a look.
Ethan Wright, a wild shot. Gets his own rebound. Tries it again. Morales with the kick out and a new shot clock for Princeton. Morales gets Polari to fly by. Stevens way up to get it and put it in.
Well, Morales just creating more opportunities for his team with his 5th steal of the game. And then Stevens up high for that rebound. My goodness.
I think his neck was at the rim when he caught the basketball. Salnave just bullying himself down low, and he'll have another chance for 3.
How about that for Ray Salnave, taking his guy into the post. And I like that for Monmouth, using Salnave with his back to the basket there. He hit a 3 the possession before. And if you're Princeton, you probably want him shooting 3s. He comes into this game only 3 of 15 from the outside. But in that possession there against Wright, probably not Princeton's best look defensively.
Salnave up to 9 points to go along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists.
Salnave has played a real nice game this afternoon for Monmouth.
His 3-point play makes it a 10-point lead, and he comes away almost with a steal, a near steal. As he dove for it, it will stay with Princeton.
Now Salnave, a great job all game here, getting deflections. That time, diving on the ground after a loose basketball. Now we'll see if Monmouth goes back to Salnave with his back to the basket there in the post next possession.
Steve, I got a question. There's 19 seconds on the shot clock. Does that mean it took Princeton 11 seconds?
You would think so, right? I guess they did get the ball over there, over half court.
Morales taken away by Chaput. Foul. And more importantly for Princeton, Richmond Ariraguzo is holding his left knee right in front of us. There was a scrum on the floor. Players went diving to the ground, and hopefully the junior is okay. He gives the thumbs up.
I like that. Hammond was kind of pushing Ariraguzo off of him, and I think this is a good sub here from King Rice. Bring Hammond out. Hammond didn't like that. The big man was kind of draped all over him as they went down to the ground.
Mitch Henderson having a word with his junior. And it will be 1-1 for Ariraguzo. 4 points, 5 rebounds. Traore taking the rebound away.
Short on his free throw. That ends up being an empty possession for Princeton there.
Salnave, good overall game again. 9 points, 7 rebounds. Guarded by Stevens. This is old school NBA from the 90s here with Salnave backing down his guy north of the 3-point line. Chaput into the lane. Polari to beat the shot clock. Can't get the friendly roll. And Stevens comes away with it.
Stationary possession there for Monmouth with Salnave backing Miles Stevens down. The all Mark Jackson play.
You don't see that much anymore, do you?
No, you don't. Different NBA, that's for sure.
I kind of miss it.
I miss it too.
After Monmouth brought the shot clock all the way down, Princeton doing much of the same. Ariraguzo, baseline spin, muscling it up. Salnave was there, and here he goes. Behind the back, around and over Morales. Traore, Salnave, and a new shot clock, a new possession for Monmouth. Good patience.
Good job here by Monmouth, bringing this basketball out. You run some clock, and you get a half-court possession.
running time in a 10-point game. Polari has his shot blocked by Stevens. Now here comes Kennedy. Stevens runs into Salnave and a blocking foul. 6:58 to go, second half. Monmouth has again built a 10-point lead behind the strength of Ray Salnave. 10-point Monmouth lead over Princeton, just under 7 minutes to go in the second half. Let's check back in with the third member of our crew, Susie Milano.
Thanks, guys. Last game versus Cal State Fullerton, Sam Abizabe really stepped up. He had 11 points, a new career high for him in his first game in double figures, plus 3 steals as well. And the team's really excited for Sam to get some recognition on the court. But overall, recognition is really not tough to come by for this criminal justice major. He knows pretty much everybody on campus by their first names, and everybody loves, as they refer to him, as Big Sam. He's somebody that everybody knows is going to move on and continue on to make this world a better place. The team even voted him most likely to be president, and he had a very presidential quote this Thanksgiving as well. He mentioned, "I'm thankful for the gift of life and the peace in our hearts this Thanksgiving." So I don't know about you guys. What do you think? Big Sam 2020?
Well, we might have to add 4 more years. Let's say 2024. We could go for Big Sam, because I'm not sure how old he is now. And I think you have to be 40 to be president, but in his case, I'll make an exception.
Well, talk about just a phenomenal person. And he is just a great guy, and hopefully he can develop into a player where he sees some more time on the floor, and really showed out in their last game against Cal State Fullerton. But just as a person, as a student athlete, King Rice said that he thought Big Sam could be an ambassador one day, and just high praise for him and his character.
He was in that last game in the Myrtle Beach Invitational at his best, 4 of 7 from the floor, career high 11 points for Big Sam. There is Devin Kennedy gliding to the rim and making it a 6-point game.
All of a sudden, we got a close one here. Monmouth looked like they were in control, but Princeton just hanging around. Monmouth turning the basketball over.
Big possession for Monmouth. Nick Rutherford back in. Kennedy has struggled in this game, but his last field goal gives him 7. Shot clock down to 1, and another shot clock violation. This is starting to look like one of those 90s, early 2000s Monmouth-Princeton game. 47-41, Steve, with just over 6 minutes to go.
Well, I think you have to give Princeton a ton of credit here. At a couple different points in this game, it looked like Monmouth was going to take control and extend their lead. But Princeton has been able to respond and hang around. Now Monmouth up to 16 turnovers. That's a great job there by the Princeton offense. Wright just getting a ball screen and then takes it hard off the screen. More bad defense for the Hawks. Ball screen defense. Polari and Hammond running into each other, and Wright doing a good job turning the corner strong.
So Wright's huge 3-point play makes this a 1-possession game.
And now all the momentum looks like it's with the Princeton Tigers.
Well, both of the head coaches, Steve, up, animated. You can see it in the background of our shot. Mitch Henderson imploring defense from his team, and King Rice instructing his team. Princeton run a 7-0 run, and Rutherford, a strong take, will go to the line.
Oh, good job there from Rutherford. Well, what do point guards do? They get your team baskets or opportunities when you need them the most. Rutherford hard to the rim, and he'll be going to the free throw line. Well, when the offense starts to bog down a little bit, team's getting a little stationary, it's up to the point guard to get his team buckets. Rutherford being aggressive, he gets himself to the free throw line. That's something that will keep Princeton alive in this game as well. Missed free throws. Monmouth has shot them really well in this game as a team, but have missed some here in the second half.
I believe they were 12 of 12 at one point, and since then, just 2, now 3 of 6. So if the Rutherford free throw makes this a 2-possession game, his 7 points match his 7 rebounds.
More ball screen action there from Princeton. That time Monmouth is able to switch it.
Hammond guards Stevens. He's got 4 fouls. And John's an air ball.
It's amazing how much Princeton has struggled from the outside, not only in this game, but the whole season.
Rutherford again being aggressive and will go to the line. Princeton now, after that last Johns miss, just 4 of 25 from beyond the arc. That's also the 5th foul on Johns. As he'll sit down, Morales ready to check back in. So after the 5th foul, a quick conversation for each coach with his team. There goes the freshman from High Point, North Carolina, Max Johns.
At the line for Monmouth is number 5, Nick Rutherford. He will have 2 shots.
Rutherford's stat line, Eddie, 7 points, 8 rebounds. And this is his first year in a Monmouth uniform, but he has shown that he can rebound the basketball at a high clip.
As Steve, you mentioned it, coming into play today, he was tied with Mustafa Traore for the team lead in rebounds. You figure, too, that number, presumably in the MAC, could continue to go up as Rutherford makes them both. He'll sit down for Sam Chaput.
Oh, good job by Rutherford again. That time knocking down his free throws. Monmouth will see what defense looks like. They might be in 2-3 here for this possession.
Kennedy, a quick catch and shoot.
And Kennedy makes the zone pay. A quick release there from Kennedy, and Princeton really needed that one bad from their leader.
He cuts the Monmouth lead in half. Shades of the game a couple of years ago when Kennedy put on a show. Well, now every possession is going to be magnified down the stretch. Salnave calling for it in the post. He gets it on the perimeter instead. And Princeton can take the lead if they, or rather can tie the game with a 3. Stevens gonna glide to the rim all the way.
Oh, what a great take there from Stevens, who got a phenomenal ball screen there in transition. And then the finish, and there was some contact there too. But that was a great ball screen by Sebastian Much in transition, really like it. Hammond got hit hard. And Stevens, the finish in traffic. And all of the momentum right now, Eddie, is with Princeton.
Much, after setting that screen, will sit down for Ari Ragusa. Stevens leading the way with 13 for Princeton and a reach-in foul. The foul will go on Ethan Wright, and it will get us to our final media timeout. Monmouth holding a 1-point lead over Princeton. Bring it back for a great finish after this. It's a 1-point game in West Long Branch, Steve. We are steaming towards a great finish between Monmouth and Princeton.
Oh, big shot there from Kennedy. That cut the score to 50-47, and then Miles Stevens, a great drive in transition to score it, and now we're at a 1-point game. Princeton has just been able to hang around in this game, and Monmouth struggling right now from the outside. They haven't scored in almost 5 minutes.
So we'll see who they come out to and rely on. Louis Polari's got 13, but it might be that guy, Ray Salnave. 9 points and 8 rebounds, who can maybe play the role of closer for King Rice. The last few years it was Justin Robinson, Micah Seaborn, Austin Tillman. Miles Stevens might have a thing or two to say about that. He's played himself a great game as well.
Monmouth struggling right now to score. We said they haven't scored in the last 4 minutes and 58 seconds. And also free throws. They started off 12 of 12 from the free throw line. They've missed 4 here in the second half. That's helped Princeton as well stay in this game.
Salnave got a hand on that after making the second free throw. Here's Morales now with 18 on the shot clock.
I really like Morales. He's a good player and speedy with the basketball.
Getting a screen from the left wing. Kennedy for three.
And Kennedy looks like he's getting more confident as the game goes on. Hasn't really done much early on, but just 2 huge threes here in the last few possessions for the Tigers.
Well, Devin Kennedy up to 13 points. A welcome addition back to the Princeton lineup. Monmouth answers with Mustafa Traore to regain the lead.
It's big-time possession for Monmouth, getting an easy basket with the post opportunity for Traore.
So Kennedy's knocked down a couple threes in a row. See where Princeton goes at the 3-minute mark. Morales into the lane. Traore with a big block, and Polari pulls it down.
Kennedy has to touch the ball on that possession. Morales trying to make a play, but Kennedy has had a hot hand. He should be touching that basketball.
And Monmouth now being patient. 2.5 to go, a 1-point Monmouth lead. Salnave turning the corner to the rim. Oh, it falls for the big-time finish for Salnave.
What a performance here from Ray Salnave, using his strength, getting to the rim, and getting the roll.
Kennedy again. He is on fire. We're tied.
And he gets an open look, and if you're Monmouth, you have to know where he is. Maybe you got to cheat a little bit to be there on the catch, but Kennedy had an open look.
After a quiet first half, he's up to 16 in a brand new 55 all game. And now he's denying Salnave the ball. Polari for three, short. And now Princeton can take the lead with 90 seconds left.
Polari got a wide open look, but he hasn't really had much going here in the second half.
Morales into the lane. Monmouth running it into the front court. In a 55 all game, they'll pull it back out. And Traore was wide open, Steve, as Kennedy had fallen.
And I think Monmouth just wanted to bring that out and run some offense. I think we were all surprised how open Traore was.
Salnave to the killer crossover. Morales making a nice play and then drawing the charge.
What a job from Morales. He got beat by the Salnave crossover, but gets his hands in there to strip that basketball, and then he takes the charge. What a great play here from Morales. He strips the ball and then takes the charge as Salnave put his shoulder down. Phenomenal play.
It's also the 4th foul on Salnave. Kennedy running it into the front court, calling timeout, and Princeton will have it. 20 seconds the difference between the game and the shot clock. And Steve, this game has really come steaming down the stretch in an instant classic here in the Ocean First Bank Center.
Well, Kennedy didn't really have much going until his last 3 shots. They've all been threes, and he's knocked them down. Traore with a big-time bucket there, and Salnave's been good all game long. Kennedy here against the Monmouth zone got an open look. Thought Polari should have cheated out a little bit to be there on the catch. But now that Kennedy's got the hot hand, Monmouth has to be able to locate him. And if I'm Mitch Henderson, as good as Morales has been defensively, he's taken a couple tough shots here offensively late in this game. I'm telling him, make sure Devin Kennedy touches this basketball here on this possession.
Monmouth held a double-figure lead in this game, and Princeton came storming back. 48 to go in the game, 28 on the shot clock. Kennedy's got 16, but don't forget Miles Stevens, who has 13, who we highlighted at the open of this game. I'll tell you, you put those two guys in pick and roll, and it's pick your poison, who you go to.
I think Kennedy's had the hot hand the last few possessions. He's got to get a touch here on this possession. This is shades of last year for Monmouth. Monmouth was 2-10 in close games last year and blew some leads late in games. Monmouth needs to buckle down here defensively.
Well, there is Kennedy. He have the game-high 16 points, including 3 threes down the stretch here in the second half. Monmouth comes out in a zone look. There is Kennedy, the quick catch and shoot. Oh, he is on fire! 4 threes in the second half, and Princeton leads.
And Kennedy comes off the screen. That time Polari had to contest, but you knew when that shot went up, Eddie, we had a great angle at it, that Kennedy was knocking that down. That was smooth.
Oh my, what a performance from Devin Kennedy.
Well, you knew that Kennedy was going to catch the basketball, and that time he's probably 28 feet away. Polari had a hand up, and you credit great offense there from Devin Kennedy. Oh, what a job from him.
Well, Steve, when a guy gets hot, he wants to get the basketball. He wasn't even set there. Amazing.
Oh, that's what happens when good players get it going, get that confidence going. We talked about how good Kennedy has been for Princeton in his career. We talked about how Kennedy, last time he was in this building, knocked down 26 points against the Hawks. It took him a while to get rolling in this game, but when he did, he's knocked down 4 straight threes.
Unbelievable. The second half performance from the senior from Mishawaka, Indiana, Devin Kennedy. Now, you flip this around. And Monmouth held a double-figure lead. They were up pretty comfortably in the second half before Kennedy shot Princeton into the lead. Now, if you're King Rice, where do you go? Louis Polari with 13. Ray Salnave going to the rim has maybe, Steve, been Monmouth's best offense here in the second half. What say you?
Well, I think if you're Monmouth, you don't need to take a 3 right away, and I agree with you. Salnave has been great going to the rim. It's been a tough matchup for Princeton against Salnave. I would, if I'm Monmouth, I go away from the guy that Miles Stevens is guarding.
Well, that's Dion Hammond as Kennedy will guard Salnave. About 8 seconds separate the game and shot clock. Here's Polari on the wing. Traore throws back to Hammond for the tie. Stevens with a block and a foul.
Well, the exact opposite of what we just talked about, going away from Miles Stevens. Monmouth drew up action there for Dion Hammond to get a look at the top of the key through the elevator, and then this is a really tough shot here. Stevens draped all over Hammond, but gets the call. Now Hammond going to the line for 3.
Hammond has yet to attempt a free throw today for the season, shooting 80%. Jess Stevens' first foul. 3 free throws for Monmouth's Dion Hammond. And calmly sinks the first one. And Monmouth needs Hammond to make all 3, and then Steve Princeton will have a shot to potentially win this one if it's all tied up. And Hammond misses the second.
Oh, great substitution here from Mitch Henderson, too. As Aririgozu goes out, he was only 40% free throw shooter last year and 63% this year. So, and he's a guy that could grab that rebound. So Monmouth would have wrapped him up on the rebound. Much subs in for him.
Hammond makes the third, so he goes 2 of 3 in a 1-point Princeton lead. Inbounds to Kennedy. Throws it into the front court, and he'll get it back, and there's the foul. 12.4 left, and Devin Kennedy, within the double bonus, will have 2 free throws.
And Kennedy's a guy that you want on the line if you're Princeton. Your senior leader who's had the hot hand all night. And nice action there for Princeton. Kennedy last year shot 88% from the free throw line. He was in the 90s a couple years back. This is the guy you want on the line.
Hasn't attempted any free throws today. And with the way he's been shooting from beyond the arc, that was a no-doubter.
He's shown that he shoots free throws at a high clip too, so good job by Princeton running that action. Morales stepped out of bounds. He got the ball, and then Kennedy stepped back in. Well, he's the guy they want on the line, and Princeton got him the basketball.
Makes them both. Back to a three-point lead with 12 seconds left.
Does Princeton foul here?
Salnave, Hammond, back to Salnave, lost it, gets it back. Salnave to Traore, he'll take a two as the game expires. And Princeton with a come-from-behind win in West Long Branch, 60-57 over Monmouth.
Well, what a tough last possession for the Monmouth Hawks. Out of timeouts there, and they end up taking a two-pointer as the time is expiring. But what a great job by Princeton. Such a gritty effort here on the road. Monmouth was in control most of this game. Princeton is able to do enough to stay around and then follow the lead of their senior guard, Devin Kennedy, who knocks down 4 straight threes and then hits big free throws late. And Princeton steals this one in the Ocean First Bank Center.
Unreal effort by Princeton as they come away with a come-from-behind win on the back of Devin Kennedy and his second half shooting performance. What a finish in the Ocean First Bank Center here on Saturday afternoon. And let's send it over to Susie, who is with Mitch Henderson.
Coach, Devin Kennedy today was totally impressive. 21 points, also nailed that great three-pointer there with under a minute left, and the composure on the line as well. How impressive was he tonight?
It was great. He's a senior guard, and he didn't shoot the ball well in the first half, but he stayed with it. His teammates found him, and he had composure the whole game, such poise. But also, you know, Richmond or Guzzo, I mean, I love the way we defended today. This is a really hard place to play. You know, King and his staff, they're doing a great job. But we're pleased to get out of here with a win. That was a hard-fought game.
And Monmouth led this one the entire game until the under 4 minutes left in this one. What made this come-behind win possible?
Well, it was a team effort. We said coming in here, we really played very poorly on Wednesday. And we said tonight's the night we come together. And I thought our defense carried us. Our offense was bad, but we won the game on the defensive end.
Congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Susie, thank you very much. As Steve might be telling, Mitch Henderson said a couple of years ago, the loss in this building helped turn their season around. This win today may help turn their season around.
This might be a galvanizing effort for Princeton. Really looked like Monmouth was in total control of this game, but his team just did enough to hang around, and then Kennedy started banging down shots. What a job from the Tigers.
Monmouth was led by Louis Pilares, 13, but the 21 from Kennedy, including a second half that we won't soon forget. What a shooting display.
Kennedy doing what senior guards should do, and that's lead their team to victory. And after a slow start in this game, he really got it going. His teammates found him, just like Mitch Henderson said. And wow, smooth-looking threes, effortless.
And you said it, when he caught the last one, there was no doubt it was going in. Well, what a game here on Saturday afternoon in West Long Branch. For our sideline reporter, Susie Milano, our game producer, Andrew Kurtz, my broadcast partner, Steve Bazaz, I'm Eddie Acapinti, saying so long from West Long Branch, where again the final score is Princeton 60 and Monmouth 57. We remind you all games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Behind Devin Kennedy's heroic 21, Princeton completes a double-figure comeback and beats Monmouth 60-57.